Hey viewers, if you want your stories, experiences of infidelity, breakup, cheating, to be narrated and get featured to others in our Mr. Cool's Planet community, feel free to submit your stories to the mail given in description. Either way, please don't forget to subscribe if you like the channel. Let's go.
Greetings and salutations. Today, we invite you to embark on a journey with us as we explore the depths of infidelity. So let's get ready to discover new perspectives and gain valuable insights together. Story 1. My wife 25F cheated on me 27M for the second time. Where do I go from here? So a little backstory. We have been together since late 2018. We met on Tinder and very quickly fell head over heels for each other. After almost a year together, I proposed. We had to postpone because of COVID for a while until late 2021. About 2 months before the big day, everything paid off and arranged. I catch her red-handed with all the messages between her and some guy on Discord. It was the typical girlfriend-boyfriend conversations, "I miss you," "I wish you were here," etc. Along with what looked like day-to-day conversations going back more than a year. And all of this is on her laptop, which she accidentally left open and unlocked. She WSS in the kitchen at the time on her phone actively talking to him, and I watched her type in real time, "I love you," and him respond. Words cannot express the utter heartbreak and physical pain I felt when I saw all of this. I had seen red flags for months. She would close out of things on her phone or laptop when I would come near or walk into the room. And I kept noticing it all the time. And then lie to my face and say nothing was wrong. So I go out to the living room, and I confront her about it. Obviously, a pretty heated argument breaks out. I end up forgiving her. She lets me go through her phone and I can see everything. I should add that she met this guy on League of Legends and I don't think he even lived in the state. Fast forward about a month, and I have asked her at this point to get Life 360 on her phone and periodic check-ins with texts and such. This is all in an effort to try and build the trust back that frankly was completely destroyed. Things seem to be going okay, some issues here and there where in hindsight I was being too clingy in my attempts to, in my opinion, not lose the woman that I so dearly love. So we go ahead with our wedding. Fast forward a other few months after we got married, it was pretty good for a while, but then things started to regress again. And now, just this past Christmas, she tells me she wants to go see a friend she plays games with, someone I actually know and have talked to in the past. She lives in Canada. She wants to go for 2 weeks, the 21st of December to the 5th. I obviously don't want her to go, but she says she has already gotten her tickets and luggage and everything she needs. I cave, and try to tell myself to give her some breathing room. As much as I don't want her to go for the holidays, I let her go. Come to find out, she lied and went to go see a new guy she had been seeing for several months. She flew to Quebec and spent 2 weeks with him. I only found out because her friend picking her up from the airport when she got back slipped up and told me her flight info, which was coming from the opposite coast of Canada from where she told me she was going. So things kinda blow up when she comes back. And again, I somehow forgive her and tell her we can try and work things out. But then not a week and a half later I find texts on her phone talking to him. At this point I have had enough. I pack my things and in the process it gets a little ugly. I tear up some photos and break a few picture frames. I've been staying at my mother's for about a month now, and we have been slowly trying to work things out, but I just am not sure how I can keep doing this. I only blame myself in this entire thing. I feel like she was only trying to be happy, when she wasn't happy with me anymore. I don't know what to do now. I am completely broke. She spent all of our savings on her trip to Canada. I've been doing a lot of research on railhopping freight cars and I can't stop thinking about just taking a freighter where it takes me. I should mention that I have pretty severe bipolar type 2. Man. Do not feel bad. You misjudged her character. You have learned a lot about people who are selfish. She is counting on you to be nice, but don't do it. Get an attorney. Get a divorce. Go ride the rails but stay safe. Story 2. Found out about WW's affair a few days ago and the anger and hurt keep growing. Need to know how people deal with this. My wife, Roseanne, and I have been together for 13 years, married for 8. I always thought we had an incredibly strong relationship. We share similar goals and interests, we care for and support each other, we constantly brag about each other to other people. We've had tough times but we always helped each other through them as a team. It was always us against the world, never us against each other. A few weeks back she went on a vacation without me. I couldn't join for various reasons which I encouraged her to do. Ever since she got back, she had been way hornier and our sex has never been better. Our sex life has always been pretty good but we've both been a little unsatisfied with the frequency of sex. It's not so low that it's a big problem, but we both would be happier if we had more sex. The past couple weeks she's just ready to go all the time. I thought it was a little strange how much a change there was, but I wasn't complaining. She attributed it to the fact that she recently lost a bit of weight and has been much more active, so she's feeling way more confident. A week ago I noticed her chatting with someone on an app I hadn't seen before. It clearly wasn't her usual text app. She very quickly closed it and it was obvious she didn't want me to see. I was a little suspicious but dismissed it. Then she bought a bunch of lingerie, which I was excited about but she didn't wear any of it for me. I thought it might have just been she wasn't ready yet, but then I noticed that some, not all, of it was in the wash, meaning she had worn it. So I snooped on her phone, found the app she was using, and found a long string of chatting and sexting with another man, AP. She met him on the vacation, he lives near our city, and ever since they've been talking, fantasizing, sending pictures. There were references to meeting up at least a couple of times and to her giving him a blowjob, and vague plans to meet up more when I leave town for work. I think I could get over the cheating pretty easily if it was a one-off. I get it, everyone's human, in decades of relationship there are going to be some fuck-ups. But this was shaping up as an extended affair, and details of it were especially hurtful. In particular there was a lot of dom-sub dynamic in their chats, and AP was clearly getting off on humiliating me, calling me names, telling her to ask permission before having sex with me, that kind of thing. She was clearly very into him and was playing along with all of this. She said she wished he was there with her on Valentine's Day. She would get dressed to go out with me and send him a sexy pic of the outfit first. She drove way out of her way to one of my favorite hikes to meet up with him, when she barely ever does that hike with me because it's too far. She modeled for him in panties that she bought especially for our wedding night and hasn't worn since. All these things where she wasn't just having a quick fling, she was putting a ton of effort into him, and doing things that were explicitly replacing me with him. I saved all the evidence and confronted her, telling her to break it off immediately, which she did. She showed me the message breaking it off, gave me complete access to her phone, and has been agreeing to whatever conditions I set. She keeps going back and forth between telling me how sorry she is and how she'll do whatever it takes to make it up to me, and trying to make it seem like it's not that big of a deal. I.e., I know I have screwed up so badly, I will put in the work to make it right, versus, I didn't have sex with him, the thing I was getting out of it was that sex with you was even better, etc. I told her that she was helping another man humiliate me for his sexual pleasure, and she understood, saying she was incredibly sorry and that she didn't like that and told him to stop, in person, so I have no record of that part. I know in her text she was at least indulging him a bit, if not actively enjoying it. I asked why him, or why now, because I really don't understand what made her do this now but not before. Both she and I are objectively way more attractive than AP, he sounds like kind of a douche, and I thought our relationship had been going really well. She said she was just so flattered that he liked her, that she's too much a people pleaser and gets too attached whenever anyone praises her, her mom is a huge narc that fucked her up, and that she liked the self-esteem boost. I really have trouble believing this, as she's a very good-looking woman and I know she gets hit on a lot, even if she doesn't always realize it. I feel like she really liked AP for whatever reason. It makes me really worried that, even if this is the first time in 13 years that she has cheated, she says there was nothing really special about him and she was still willing to risk our marriage for him. This all happened a couple days ago. Yesterday she had to leave for a work trip planned long ago. I'm sure it's real. Now I'm alone and angrier than I've ever been. I want to say every cruel thing I can think of and ruin her self-esteem. I want to send all the evidence I have to App's wife. I want to smash every breakable thing in the house. I'm normally a very calm person, but I can't calm down. I know it won't make me feel better to ruin everything, and App's wife probably is better off not knowing they have a small child, but I just want to break everything. I don't want my marriage to end, but every time I think of her I want to scream. She agreed to couples therapy and we're both going to go to individual therapy, but that's going to take a few days, weeks because of scheduling. In the meantime I feel like I can't tell anyone. If we do, I don't want our friends or family knowing about this, and I don't really have anyone I can confide in other than her. Part of why I'm writing this is just because I need someone to know what happened to me instead of just pretending everything is okay. She keeps saying over and over that I'm the most important thing to her and that she's going to put in the work to regain my trust. Every time she says it I get madder and I don't know how I can ever move past this. I don't want to lose her, but right now she's causing me nothing but rage and pain. I need advice from people who have been where I am and who managed to get past it one way or another. Brother. Sounds like you're in shock. Give yourself 3 to 6 months for your new reality to sink in before you make any decisions. It sounds like you don't know everything. Look up Trickle Truth together. Then ask her for a polygraph. Story 3. Triple Death Cuckold Cheating. My GF 39F Christy and I 36M are dating for about 2 years. We recently got back together after we matched on Tinder. I broke up with her about 5 months before. She can get kind of vindictive. Rate this story 0 to 100. We met in person at a cafe and went out to her car to smoke some weed. About 10 minutes later I was fingering her and she was driving to my place. I made her come a dozen times and I came in her pussy 3 times in a row with her begging for it. Christy likes getting fucked harder than any chick I have ever been with. So when I started dating her again after she had been on Tinder, for some reason chemistry between us wasn't the same. Christy is a real deviant slut. She drives around playing with her pussy and coming, and it's so obvious because her hand shakes and she shoots up in the driver's seat and has to try faking that she isn't coming. She gets jealous when a cock doesn't go her way in some cases. When we started dating again she seemed to have been getting kinkier. Not necessarily in a good way. The first few dates were unremarkable. Around the 4th date she started talking about how many guys she was with while we were broken up and how many of them were messaging her that day. She really went on about all of them, the young one, the engineer, the big dick, the bigger dick. She apparently had been hooking up a lot and her pussy was in high demand. Christy wanted to cuck me as soon as she got back with me. It might even be the only reason that she swiped me. The way in which she did it is particularly brutal, you can decide. She started talking about promiscuous sex stuff a lot and all of the guys that she had been seeing. It seemed like she enjoyed the rise she could get. She told me that she wanted to a threesome with me and I was happy to offer her the service. Later on she says that she already knows a guy she wants to do it with. She described him as a guy that does a lot of threesomes and is well experienced. However, she didn't mention what kind of threesome. She asked me if I would lick her pussy while another guy fucks her and I said I might. She told me that the guy's dick might get in my face by accident. I asked her if she wanted the other guy to do any of that licking and she said no, just me. So that was the very beginning of her starting to really cuck me. It didn't take very long before she started showing her new side, with sex being the leading element in a relationship for her. Every day she started asking me if we're going to do the threesome. Eventually she told me she's going to date him if I don't get a hotel room or invite him to my place to fuck her right in front of my face, literally. There was a cool weekend coming up and it was Monday. She asked me again, are we going to do it this week? I was forever delaying it. She told me she got an appointment to wax her pussy on Wednesday and she wanted to do it soon. She came to my house on Tuesday and told me about 2 parties that were happening on Friday and Saturday. At some point she told me that she wants to take some time and have some space because I didn't schedule her bull to come fuck her in my house. On Wednesday she rejected any calls I made, ignored any texts. Thursday, nothing at all. Friday I was expecting her to meet me for the first house party, nothing at all. On Saturday, I was hoping she'd get back to me for the evening and she rejected every call. I ended up calling her from a different number on Sunday morning at 2:15 a.m. after the bar got out and she picked up right away thinking it's someone else. I asked if she was going to be coming over since it was late. When she heard it was me, just said, "I'm smoking weed with a friend, I might call you later," and hung up. I tried calling a few times again and they were rejected. Eventually the calls were ringing. 3 a.m. went by and 4 a.m. went by and about 4:30 a.m. I saw her headlights in the driveway. 2 hours to smoke some weed. When she got to my front doorstep she drunk was wearing heels, a mini skirt, no bra, she had her hair and her nails done and makeup with lipstick, perfume, and she stopped at the front door and gave me a funny look and came inside. She said, "I'm going to go to the bathroom," and then decided, never mind, and just went and got into my bed. So now I'm wondering where the fuck she was for the past 4 days and she's not saying anything. I eventually got her to wake up a bit when I started kissing her thighs and up her chest and neck and right back between her legs. I was kissing her right on her pussy but didn't notice there was something else. Her panties were totally soaked through in the fabric in front of her pussy. It was like white chalk down the middle in a big wet spot that made up her the exact outline of her pussy. I took her panties off and saw her pussy was waxed and kissed her pussy a bit before she got up to go to the bathroom. I looked at her panties when she was in the bathroom, very alarmed at how soaked through and sticky they were. She came back and she got on top of me and did a sloppy grinding that was very sticky and wet. Her pussy was extra wet for some reason that night. I couldn't even enjoy the sloppy grinding position, so I turned her around to doggy style and started pounding her and grabbing her ass. There was sticky stuff that was connecting from my balls to her pussy with every slap. It was like ooze. The sex was lackluster because her pussy was so wet and she acted like she couldn't even feel it. She basically pretended like she was half asleep and made disappointed sounds, but still very much trying to emphasize the cuckolding she was up to. When I came in her pussy she literally said, "More cum." She went to sleep and I looked at her phone and unlocked it, which I'd never actually done before, but I looked through her messages and saw that at about 4 a.m. she got a guy named Toby's number and added him Facebook. I looked at Toby's profile and saw he's a guy that knows we date. For Toby, he followed Christy to her car and fucked her for an hour and a half and then sent her home with her panties full of cum. What's worse than that? The house party the night before. I saw pictures that didn't quite explain it all, but there were 2 guys holding Christy's tits and texts confirming that she was coming with a guy friend. And then what's worse than that? She saw her bull on Thursday night at his house. I confronted her about some of what I saw and she told me that she visited him on Thursday, for the first time ever, and just went in for a few minutes and came out. Then she said that her Friday house party was just fun and games when she took the picture to send to me to piss me off. And she says that she wasn't with Toby on Saturday but a female friend and she went to sleep before coming to my house. What's worse than that? She's still waiting for me to lick her pussy while her bull fucks her for 2 hours. She didn't mention the threesome was just me with a guy's huge dick falling right on my face when it slides out of Christy's pussy. She triple played me and came to me full of multiple guys' cum and I went down on her. I doubt that Toby is the only guy she actually fucked on Saturday too, but I saw he's actually trying to meet her again this weekend. This is bullshit. 'Cause of guys like you, women think this kind of stuff is right. If this is real, stop trying to act straight, go be gay, cause no real straight man would put up with that situation. And to write that down shows you failed your father and every man born of your bloodline. Go be a sissy, gay, nothing wrong with that nowadays, just stop acting straight, man, cause obviously you're not. And that concludes our adventure for today, dear companions. We hope you found this experience engaging and insightful, and that it encouraged you to embrace the power of storytelling. Remember to stay curious, keep exploring, and share your own stories with the world. If you have any feedback or thoughts to share, don't hesitate to leave a comment below. Until our next voyage, farewell and bon voyage.